Hi, this is just a quick little video to show you how to count your rows. We do get the question asked, which row am I on? How do you know? So ignore the pink for a minute because I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. But let's look here. This is just a 2x2 rib. And the question is, how many rows have you knitted? So there's a couple of things that you can use to help you work this out, but really what we want to do is just count the V's. Now always work, if you can, on a row of knit stitches, that is the V stitches. I wouldn't try counting the bumps there, that's just a little bit trickier. So look for a row where you've got the V's. If you need to, turn it over and look for V's on the other side, and then we can just count them. Now the thing is that the first row, this will be your the first V, this is your cast on row. And then you've also got a row on the top needles. So you could count, that's the cast on, so that's row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 on the needle is 11. So you've done 11 rows here. But what I would do is forget about the cast on row, forget about the 1 on your needles, and just count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've done 11 rows because the cast on row and the row on your needles will cancel each other out. So we're about to work on row 12 in this knitting. Now another thing that can help us identify that is this lovely piece of tail here. This is where I cast on. Now it does depend on which type of cast on you use, so I'll mention both, but I did a regular type of cast on, so I did a slip knot and then I cast on along the bottom of my knitting. So row 1 was always coming back in this direction, so row 2 always goes in that direction. So I'm ready here to work in this direction because that's my working tail. So I know that I'm going to be working an even row at this time. Does that make sense? So row 1 goes from, in this case, left to right, and an even row, row 2, went from right to left. So here I'm working right to left, so that has to be an even row. So when I work out it's row 12, that makes sense, must be right. If you do a long tail cast on, which is where you put a slip knot in the middle of your yarn and you've got a longer tail, then you work along and both the working yarn and the yarn tail go along the cast on row, and your cast on tail is at this end, it's at this side. So you just have to know which type of cast on you did, but I guess you probably remember that because they're quite different. So if your cast on tail was on this side and you did a long tail cast on, then you remember that row 1 goes from, or you just remember that you've got your cast on tail on this side. So row 1 again goes from left to right, and row 2 goes from right to left. So you will be working an even row again. The pink bit is my way of counting rows. Now what I like to do is I put this thread all the way through, just use any piece of contrasting yarn, and every second row I put it through. So I'm just going to knit this and show you where we get to. So I'm just going to slip this first stitch, there we go, and a couple of purl stitches, and there we get one more, and now you can see I'm in the column where the row counter is. I've got 2 bars across this column, so I know that this is my every other row. So I'm just going to flip that across, just lay it across and carry on. That's all you do for it. When you come back the other way, which I won't knit all the way and show you, but when you come back the other way, you'll find that you've actually only got 1 bar across when you're coming back this way, plus it's on a purl side as well. So I know not to move my tail across at that point. So every time I'm on the right side, I'll check and I'll have 2 bars there, and I just move that across. So now it's very easy to work out which row I'm on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, I'm on row 12. And that works all the way up your knitting as far as you want to go. So look out for, we've got a big video on the row counter, explains that in a bit more detail. I think if you're on Facebook and you click on the videos button on the right of the screen, you'll find, oh, the left of the screen, on the left, I never know which side it is. Click the videos button on the left of the screen and you'll be able to see what's going on. So check out the row counter. This works really well. But even so, you can always count your stitches, look for the column of V's and just count how many V's you've got. And that will tell you which row you're on. Okay.